Hey, what is going on, everybody? Hopefully, you're having a good Friday so far. It's a little snowy outside, but it's another episode of Millennial with Billy and Mel. It's the first one of the year, guys. So we're back. We took a couple of weeks off through all the different holidays that we just went through, and now we're in that time of the year where there's really nothing to do but wait for summer to come around. So, to say the least, but anyways, guys, we appreciate everybody that is jumping on, and hopefully this is going to be a great show for you guys. What we're going to be talking about today is 2021, right? 2021 yearly review. So we're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, right? All the different things that went on this year, especially for me and Mel, but also definitely talking about, some of our goals, all kinds of stuff. So today's going to be really just a hodgepodge, right? Because me and Mel haven't talked in legit talked in probably 3 weeks, right?
I know. It feels like forever.
Yeah. So Mel, how are you doing? How's it
going? I'm good. I feel I know the holidays went by really quickly. December. I feel like each time we did the podcast, we were saying how time has been flying. So I'm really excited for the new year and been busy. I had a little bit of lull with the business. The holiday cards were so busy. And then, it's my slower time until weddings and events start here. Started getting some orders and so working on some of the back end stuff, which is good. But yeah, the holidays were good and just kind of transitioning, doing some different stuff, getting better routines. The joke of the new year, new me or whatever. It's like, no, it's same every year. It's the same old me. I'm going to be doing the same old shit. But yeah, it's good.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, the same here, right? Christmas was awesome. Finally got to spend some time with some family and stuff like that. And then, because what was it last year? We didn't really have that ability, right? We didn't get a chance to spend Christmas like we normally do. So that was really fun. And then New Year's. I'm not a big New Year's person. I don't even think even in college I was a big New Year's Eve going out. Are you big into New Year's Eve? Is that
not really? I'm not either. And honestly, I have probably more people than I can count on both of my hands that have COVID right now. I call it Omicron, which I think just Transformers, we all joke like Omicron, but I call it Omicron. But so many people had it that, they weren't going out or they were staying at home. And it just was, even though the people who could go out and we did stuff, it definitely wasn't the same as it used to be. I feel when we were younger, it might've been like a dinner and then we stayed out and we did the ball drop, downtown Harrisburg, but it hasn't been like that for a while. I've stayed home most of the years too. So, just went up to Hershey here, watched the Kiss drop. And unfortunately the fireworks, they did such a great job getting everything planned for this year. It was so foggy here. You couldn't even see the fireworks. So it was kind of a bummer.
That sucks. Yeah. Normally, I remember growing up, especially in college and stuff like that. And coming home, the bigger, I guess party days for me were the day before Thanksgiving, there's just nothing to do.
Right.
And then it was always the day before Christmas, right? Everybody would go out and stuff like that. And that's what I remember most about coming back home from college and stuff like that those were the days that we went out. And I think they said I think they would say Thursday or the day before Thanksgiving was the biggest bar days for
it. It's still I definitely think it still is. I know the Permani brothers here in downtown Hershey, the manager told me they did more from 8 to mid, 8 o'clock till if they were open till 12, I don't know, 2 o'clock than any of the other franchises did that whole day. So this one here is really busy, obviously, but yeah, it wasn't, as exciting, but, I think the holidays haven't been the same for the last 2 years, for me at least. And I think that it's different. We talked a lot about with people who have kids and they're want to celebrate and get into the season and Santa and all the presents and keep that alive for them. I think some people that have kids might have that a lot more than people who don't have kids. And even if you're, if you're in a relationship or you're going back home, to your parents and you have a big family, I think that there's a lot more to do and things like hype around the holidays. I mean, it was just me by myself, and my parents came over Christmas Eve, and we made dinner and we drank, and I just baked on Christmas Day, and then I went to see some friends. So it was very not the same, but it was fun, and I think we just have to be open to whatever it is, whatever we make it. Obviously we have a choice, but.
Yeah, no. So what kind of, did you get any like cool Christmas presents or anything like that? Anything that you were like, man, this is awesome?
Well, speaking of like hashtag adulting, millennials, I got a Dyson vacuum. My parents.
That is so millennial.
I had been dying for a cordless vacuum because I have like all hardwood floors like everywhere in the house here in my new place, except for one room that's carpet. So I really just wanted a cordless. I shed, obviously, and so I had been talking about getting a cordless vacuum, and that's what they got me, which was, they're really nice. And then I just got cash. They were like, we're just giving you money. And I ended up filling stockings for them, when they came here. I had little stocking stuffers and had them, had gifts for them. So I still got to wrap some stuff. But my best friend got me an ice maker. It's copper rose gold. Love Brina, because I don't have an ice maker in the fridge, so it's like a freestanding one. That I love that, and I got a gift certificate also for like the IV drip places where you can go and get like the immunity or like vitamins, or like they do a lot of other things there, but I've never done that. And
I've seen that. It's big now. Like a lot of people, like, especially like after a hard night of drinking.
The hangover IV. I know.
Yeah.
What about you?
No, I was gonna think when you were talking about that ice thing, right? That you got in the rose gold. I remember seeing it. I was like, man, this would be the perfect gift for Mel. But it was. I don't know if you've seen it now, but like a lot of these cocktail places are making like those ice forms. Yeah. So not like the balls, right? Not like the spheres or anything like that, but like you take like a block or a sphere or something like that, and it's like it goes really slowly, and it like presses the ice into a form, and it pressed the ice into diamonds.
Oh, I would love that.
I said that is a Mel gift if I've ever seen one.
It would be cool if we could add like edible glitter to it too. Yeah, ooh, like, sparkly.
But like, especially because guys, if you don't know, like if you haven't been to a Mel party ever, it's extravagant. Everything is. It just looks like a professional party.
I am a
organizer.
I know.
Like Mel doesn't mess around, guys.
I don't, and it's an obsession. But in another life, I was either a party planner, or if I had another life, I would be, a party planner with like the details and all that. But I enjoy it a lot. But
and then I got a book for Megan, which you'll really enjoy, and we'll have to test it out here this year. But I found it at Five Below, right? Five Below is great for like stocking stuffer gifts.
Yep.
And one of the gifts I found was a book on charcuterie boards and all the different charcuterie boards.
She would love that. Yep.
And so like it's not just like, I think people just think about like cheese and all that other stuff, but like there's like dessert ones. There's just like all kinds of ones. So that was a pretty cool gift. That's I remember. Cool. But one of the gifts I got, I'm using right now. I got my new microphone.
It sounds amazing.
So I follow a bunch of people that do streaming and stuff like that. So I saw this microphone, and it's not super expensive, which is something that I like, and it's literally plug and play. So, but it's really, like I said, I really enjoy it, and so going to get some other stuff just to beef up the streaming game, I guess.
Nice.
And then, like you said, I got some money, got some gift cards. I think did we talk about like
the gift card?
The gift cards.
Listen, I'll take anything these days. Honestly, like I'll take a Sheetz gas gift card, man. I'll take it all.
You need a small loan to get some gas these days.
I'm splurging today. I rationed my Dr. Pepper, but
Oh, and that's, I mean,
It's a baby.
I think that's a great segue. I think we should talk about, well, let's talk about goals for 2022 in a second. Let's talk about like one of the things that I always do is I try to think about like the things that I learned from last year, especially about myself, maybe some things that I learned about along the way. So what are some things that you learned either about yourself, business, whatever it might be in 2021 that you're going to take into this year?
Yeah, so I have three major things that just kind of like hit me hard this year. I had started out really strong with the Growth Con and the 10X and all the Grant Cardone stuff. You know, I went to Miami and then I did the couple of the virtual conferences, and I got on screen in front of 10,000 people, which was amazing. And then they kind of pressured me. I'm such a sucker. I just, I should have said no, but we talked about that I signed up for this accelerator program, and it was very expensive. I don't even want to tell you how much it was a month that I did payments for, because I wasn't able to pay outright for it. And it caught up with me financially just as an expense. But I learned a couple months ago that I wasn't ready for that. So I really jumped in too soon. It was like too much too soon. And while I really enjoy the idea of being a part of that team, and I still do the videos every morning, and I still do my journal, my 10X book, it was so intense because I was also comparing myself, I think, with a lot of people who were so further on in their business and in the program. It got overwhelming for me. And then unfortunately, when I get overwhelmed in certain things, I shut down and then I don't do anything. So I had to sort of regroup on that. And I guess I would say that, going into next year, and anybody that is setting goals and stuff with business and whether it's coaching or just doing anything with, planning, like don't set your expectations too high or your goals like so extreme, or like try to do too much, because, I just think, I have a lot of other things going on that it was almost too much, and it hurt me, I think, honestly. So I had to really slow down with that a little bit, and just kind of do certain things in the morning. There were calls, every day. It just was taking up a lot of time, and I wasn't being able to focus on the time to actually work and and grow. I was doing so much of that, those other things, listening. I kind of had to cut back, but so that was one thing. And then, which is still good. I mean, I'm still doing the program and everything. It just, I should have thought a little bit more before making that decision. Over the summer, I think around that time that I was probably a little overwhelmed, I started going out a lot more. The weather was nice. My friends, we were, having drinks. We were, going out late, and I got a little bit, I did that a little bit too much with not as much networking. A lot of the socializing and things that I've done my whole life was based on my business and networking and other professionals and things that will grow me and my business. And I noticed that this year, and it was just mostly of the summer, I think, because I was in Hershey, I could walk home. I was, it's a lot more convenient here. I was doing more of the socializing, and it wasn't really benefiting me at all. I was just out, I was drinking, I was eating. And, I said, what, like I had to reevaluate some things around the end of the summer. And I just said, yeah. And then luckily into the holidays in the fall, there were so many networking events and a lot of things that I started to really just jump on with the business side. And it was less social, more business. And that's really what the time that I like to spend when I am out. And yeah, I mean, I have been reading a lot more, going to my counselor, just trying to get a better routine. I just do better when I have, and I stick to stuff, the gym or working out in the morning and all that. I think a combination of all that stuff got me out of focus and a routine. So, yeah, that's,
yeah. No, I mean, you said something really important, and it's something that I learned this year. And, cause you can get into, like you said, like you took on too much, right? And yes, what you were doing was good, right? In a sense, like you were investing in yourself, you were investing in your business, but like when you take on too much, you can't take the action that you're supposed to be taking in the process, right? And so like that was that, like, so for me last year, one of my goals was to read 24 books, which I accomplished, right? And it was really tough because we've talked about this, like I'm not a reader, like I'm just like
same,
it's not like Megan, right? Her passion, she could just read a book in instantaneous, right? That's what her hobby, like my hobby is going to work out. Like I could work out 7 days a week and not even like flinch, right? Like be like, hey, this is really awesome, right? But like for me, reading books, like it's great to read books, right? And so I don't think I'm going to go over 20, 24 or 30 books a year. I mean, I know some million, they say the average millionaire reads 60 books in a year, which is great. But like when you start reading a lot of self-development books, like I've been reading, you tend to start to hear a lot of the same stuff, right? It just repeats, it's maybe in a different format.
Right.
But one of the things I wasn't doing, I was consuming, but I wasn't, I would take one or two things and put it into practice. Like instead of just saying, okay, this is what I've learned, how do I implement it? How do I put it into my business?
Right.
And take more action on the things that I was doing. And so, because I'm part of a mastermind group for the first 30 days of this year, and it's a guy that's in my business. He does it every year, and that's one of the things that he was talking about. The first training, the first day, he was just like, this is not something that I want you to just check off the box. Like check off the box that you did something to move your business forward. Like you need to take what you learn here and actually implement it and put it into your life. So it's a lot about goals right now, but also taking a lot more action. So I think taking more action and focusing, like you were saying, focusing on like a couple things that you want to accomplish. Like you'll have your overall goal, like, you want to make $1 million, right? Whatever. But you have smaller goals that you accomplish that will ultimately bring you to your goal, right? And so I think for me, like focusing on really 4 or 5 areas. So for me, it's like faith, fitness, family, finance, and self-improvement. So and like I have a goal in each one. And once you accomplish it, I replace that goal. So I think for me is like, it's like when you're like spring cleaning and you're cleaning your closet and you're getting rid of all the clothes that you don't use. I think that's kind of the mindset that I have for this year, is that just trying to keep it simple, not trying to overwhelm myself.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's exactly how I feel. I just maybe didn't word it, like I was trying to word it that way. I think, a lot of the stuff that we've seen is, taking massive action and taking action and doing. And, I think you're right. I think I was learning all this stuff and hearing all of these things. And, it was great, but it's so much that it's like, where do I start? And I need to just start here. And it was like too much too soon. And I did speak with somebody who has done a lot over the last couple of years and has, multi-million-dollar business, and they're growing and they're doing really well. But he even said that happened to me too. And I have all these employees, it can get that way. And I think you have to almost, know when to take it easy and like slow down a little bit, that at least you're making progress. Because I think what happened was I felt like I wasn't going anywhere. I was going in circles. And then I felt like I was failing almost because I wasn't doing as much, and I got discouraged instead of, that momentum and that, that hype of everything. So I just had to almost just refocus, but it was like kind of cutting out like the fat and stuff too. I think.
So I have a question for you. So, cause I will do this, right? And I'm asking from a sense because I do this from time to time. Like when I get overwhelmed, I'm just like you, I shut down, right? Like I just kind of, I don't really, so was you going out a little bit more than you think you should have been going out, was a response to you being like, hey, I'm overwhelmed, I'm going to go do something else, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like
I would say, I would absolutely say that because Yeah, it was basically a distraction because unfortunately, I also have that thing of like shutting down. But unfortunately, in my life, I've used other things as distractions to
That's
not
what I was. Yeah, that's what I
to
was kind of
not
getting
do the
at.
things that I've needed. And it's happened with relationships, it's happened with jobs, it's happened with ideas. Something comes along and it's like, oh, this is a great idea. And, I want to do this and this is fun and I'm more excited about this, or I can make more money on this, and I distract myself. And that's something that I absolutely am focusing on for 2022 is just stick with what I'm doing, and I can always do something next year. I have all these ideas for products or things that I want to do. And it's like, well, there's always, let's get through this first, stop trying to we can't spread ourselves too thin and do, 30, 30, 30, or, 33, 33, 33. Let's just do 100 here. And then, and then do that next, move on to something later. So, and I think the focus for me too is financial. I mean, I have, seen my business go just completely different with after the pandemic with events and things that people need and don't need anymore with design and certain events that aren't happening. And I'm being a lot smarter with my finances and looking at things. I want to get a new car. I want to obviously start saving, maybe get on track for the next couple of years of getting an investment property or something that I'm never going to have that if I don't start planning. I mean, obviously, that's what you do.
Yeah,
So
you're preaching to the choir.
Right. I mean, yeah, but I'm just saying, I think that I really got to where, I really started to look at the stuff, what's making me money, what's not, who's making me money, who's not. And then that idea of like the socializing. Absolutely. I think I went so extreme and then I went the complete opposite. And then, but I know it, like I see it. I know it, I'm not ignorant to it. I just feel like I have to, the sooner that I realize it and just kind of, check back in and make adapt, and kind of adapt and make those kind of changes. But yeah, I'm back to where I think also certain things weren't happening. I think a lot of the reasons why I went so far into the business stuff was because there weren't those networking events. There weren't those things that I was doing in 2020. So then I wanted to be a part so badly and I wanted help and I wanted that, the coaching and all that because I didn't have that. So I got it, but it was so much, and then I like reverted almost because it was like it wasn't there. And then when I found something, it was just, maybe it was too much for me. It wasn't what I was used to. It wasn't that same. So, yeah. And then I went the opposite. And then I just had to say, well, let's find a happy medium here, So,
yeah, I mean, but some people don't come back from that, right? Like some people just keep continuing down the path because they're pushing the can down the road, for a little bit longer and stuff like that. But I think, that's what I've really tried to focus on too. This, when I do catch myself, like maybe, you're especially like us being self-employed and it's not like you show up to a 9 to 5 job where you have a boss, you have a time clock, you have a lunch you take, all that stuff, right? All those structure to keep you within, in moving in the right direction. So not to say that we don't have that structure. It's just, it's a little bit different, right? When you do this,
we have to discipline ourselves. It's hard.
Yeah. And so like, and especially like, so one of the things I want to do, and I've talked to Megan about it, is, getting involved like in a co-working space. And the reason why that, and not like having an office at the co-working space, but like you can just like pay for like a membership where you can use the facilities on all that type of stuff. And so, but one of the reasons I want to do that is because like leaving the house, right? Because that's what we used to do when we worked for corporate America. You go to wherever that place of business was, right? And so there's so many distractions at the house. And for the most part, I do a good job. But every once in a while, you're like, you're doing something and, you're knocking some stuff out. And then you're like, oh, here's a video just popped up. Let me watch this video, right? And like 15 minutes later, like, what am I doing? Like, I just wasted 15 minutes. Or, like you walk into the, you walk out into the kitchen and you're like, oh man, the dishes need to be done, right? And then you start doing dishes. And then all of a sudden you're like, there's another like
I
20
gotta
minutes
work.
gone.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I think one of the things I just try to do is just like to call myself out in that moment to
Mhm.
be like, hey, what are you doing? Like,
Mhm.
is this, I think this is a good question for most people to ask themselves is to say like, how, is what I'm doing right now going to get me out of what I'm doing right now? Like is
Right.
is it going to benefit me as this? And you don't always want to think about money, but like, is this going to be an income producing
Oh
like
yeah, that's
moment?
what I started thinking. Like when I was going out and I was just having drinks and like, I had these 20-year-old guys coming up to me and I'm like, okay, but like I'm 10 years older than you. Like relax. Like I had no interest in even having conversations. And obviously it was with my friends and I have great conversations with them. But that environment, it wasn't growing me. That's what I was saying too. And I think that to me, it's either like professionally, financially, or I don't know if it's spiritually or just mentally. I mean, that's what I look at. And I really did start to say about the money. I just said, is this making me money? I mean, because if that is such a goal to save and I want a new car and all that, I really have to start thinking about things that, the time that I'm spending and the priorities. And but if it's not making, is it something that is then growing? Is it something that's of value of my time? So I was absolutely doing that and kind of checking myself. But when you say that about the schedule, it's really funny because I've worked from home for so long and I used to do that all the time. Pre-COVID, I would go to lunch. I'd grab a coffee. Oh, other friends that had different schedules and I found myself, that's also why I would work really late or I'd have to work on the weekends, was because I wasn't setting that, those hours 8 to 4, 9 to 5, like everybody else. I was just so sporadic. So what I learned too, because there weren't really things that we could do during the day last year, or 2020 at least. I really did create a schedule where also the friends that I'm with now have jobs that they're working 9 to 5, right? I mean, they have their own business, but they're tied to retail hours or they're tied to, their desk working hard. So I actually surrounded myself with people too that, I'm like, well, yeah, I have to work 9 to 5. I have to be at my desk all day, and I have work to do and I want to make money and I want to, finish that job so I can send the invoice and all that stuff. So I think the one thing that I did work on the discipline on that was actually not getting as distracted at home. I really did I'm at my desk all day. And then I try to do all that other stuff, on nights and weekends. And that I got into the habit and I feel good about. But there's a lot of other things I need to work on.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, that is like you were saying, it's just, going back to the schedule, coming up with a block schedule, I think is a big thing for me this year.
Mm-hmm.
Making sure I'm doing that. Just like, so I'm staying on task, right? Because
Yep.
like I said, there's just so many distractions these days that it just can become overwhelming. So, but we do have a comment, our first comment of the year. It's our first comment of the year.
It is. He's our first comment. This is
Joseph,
great.
what's going on, my man?
I'm glad that you're watching too.
Yeah, so
He's
he
great.
says, for those that are listening, 2021 was a busy year of new opportunities to serve and also generate income. I am grateful because 2022 is beginning the same way. The challenge for me is not to overcommit.
Yep.
No is a valid response.
Yes.
I love it.
Thank you, Joseph. So Joseph was a speaker at the Leadership Harrisburg. He spoke at the graduation and I stayed in 100-degree heat and I got sunburned. Okay. Really, really bad because all the other kids, well, I don't say kids. Oh my God. These are, 30, 40, 50-year-olds, wanted to go at the stadium and get under the shade because it was so hot. We were literally sitting there and I stayed with one other guy. He was our class, rep that we voted for. Him and I stayed there and I said, no, I'm staying in the sun to listen to Joseph. He used to come in to my parents. We had an ice cream and bakery and he used to come in the mornings, oh my gosh, this is over 10 years ago. And he would talk to my dad and stuff. So I've known him for a long time. So thank you very much. And he, it's a great person to know. Definitely.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank you for watching, Joseph. And like I said, you were you're the first commenter of the year. So we really appreciate that. So
we need to get our swag, our millennial swag, so we can give away stuff, you know? Hey, here's a coffee mug.
I know.
Here's a koozie.
Put it down on the list of things we're going to accomplish in 2022.
Stop talking and start doing.
Yes, taking more action.
I have
Focusing
a book
on one thing.
I have a book that I just literally started that I got as a gift, actually, from a friend of mine. It's not a new book, but it's called Positioning: The Battle for Your Mind. And it's about communicating and marketing a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's like a marketing classic book. And he said it was his favorite book about business. So if you want to look it up, it's on, or I can send it out your way. It was just something I didn't want to forget. A new book that I think you like.
Well, yeah, no, I'm reading a book called, and it's kind of along the same lines. It's called Nudge, and it's about how the human brain gets nudged to do things based on just different things that you see and stuff going on around you. And so it's a really good book so far. There's actually been 5 versions of it. This is the 5th and final one, but so they added some 2022 or 2021 stuff in there. So, but it's really good so far. We do have another comment from Joseph.
Great to be
2
here.
for 2 now. Great to be here.
It was funny. Speaking of like podcasts in 2021, we have to get used to saying 2022. I did see something that somebody wrote 2022, like meaning like this is like 2020. Like it's also 2020 because it sucks, but then I saw because it's like also like 2 TWTOO, but then I saw 2021 like WON, like we won, you know. So I saw some funny things about trying to make it positive, and then some of it was not like shitty, but I had followed up on some social media with our last guest. She's killing it on her social media. I don't know if anybody saw the show about So I Got Divorced. I started following her, and she's doing a really great job with her content and her posts, and her followers are really growing. So I just wanted to congratulate her. And I thought it was really neat that we had her on the show too. And following her and kind of seeing what she's doing. But Flora Pastorero, I was just at a holiday party with the other night, and actually, was it last? Well, I don't know, my days are so messed up. I think it was last night. Actually, we just saw her. We went to a holiday party, and she was asking about the podcast, and I said that we took a couple weeks. We took the holidays off. I was like, it's just. I had all the intentions of hopping on and doing it, and things came up, and she said, it's okay, Melissa, we skipped for the holidays too. It's okay to, take a week off here and there, especially around the holidays. And she said, but it's really great that you're still going. And I love seeing all of the, things pop up every Friday that you're doing it. She loves that we do it live. They record theirs, so it's a little different, but she thinks it's really neat that we do ours live and that we have people commenting. It's a lot different than theirs. But they obviously were doing it a little longer than ours, and it's connected. Flora was the one that had asked about me doing the millennial podcast, and how this all came about was because of her and her podcast, Chick to Chick. But they actually had gotten involved with CBS 21. So they were on the actual TV local at like maybe noon or something. And then they got over to Fox. So they were doing that this year in 2021. And then at some point, I think in the summer, she said that they got picked up by a podcast streaming company. There's initials, so I don't remember, but that they're on Hulu, Roku, and I thought it was Apple TV, possibly, that they're actually that's a streaming service on TV. So they're actually now doing that, and it's like at 12 o'clock every day they go on or something. So that's really cool. I don't think it's live, but I didn't ask. But I just wanted to share that kind of where we got started and how they have, some time on us, but obviously they are definitely expanding and growing, and there's a lot of opportunity, for everybody.
No, it's funny because, like, let's be honest, like, for a second, like, there's probably a proper way to run a podcast. And there's probably a lot of there's a lot of gurus out there that tell you, you got to do this, you got to do that. And so like, well, that's one thing. I mean, could we implement some of those things and grow this thing? Yes, we definitely could. Right. However, I do like the fact that we just kind of do whatever the hell we want. Right. And like,
absolutely,
just make it our own.
That's what I said. I said, we're having fun. I said, I know that they had very specific goals as far as business wise, to generate income and to, there's more on the journalism side of things because of their background. They were obviously both on the news and journalists, and that's what they're really good at. And that's their experience. So again, not comparing. I mean, I think at the beginning I was comparing, what everyone's doing, and we can't do that. Obviously we know we've stopped comparing, but it's a completely different audience. It's just different experience. And I just said, we're having fun, at some point. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about, expanding and doing stuff in person and all that. And I think it's okay that we're going at the speed that we're going, yeah. I think,
it's all, for me, it's all about content. Like it doesn't matter. Like we can have all the bells and whistles. Like if you're watching this, right, and you see me popping all these banners and people up, like what we're using is a very generic system. It's not like anything crazy to, we have like $100 mic, and we're not trying to be like
a production company behind it. Exactly. Yeah.
And so, and like you said, they have different viewership. They have an older crowd, so TV is going to be more so their speed, whereas social media is more our speed. And like I said, for me, like it's all about content, like what we produce, the conversations that we have. It's not like tongue in cheek. We're trying to please everybody and do those types. We're just being real. We're being who we are as people. Asking questions and having some difficult conversations, having some fun conversations. But that's what I enjoy about this. And I think a lot of our viewers and stuff like that, that watch on a regular basis, we appreciate all of you, but they enjoy. That's why they come here, because how many podcasts can you say are filmed live, right? Maybe there's some that are filmed live that don't edit anything, but like ours is like legit broadcast.
Well, that live. Or it's planned, it's scripted, I wouldn't say the word scripted, but there were times where we had I make bullet points of thoughts that I want to talk about, but it's really just
like today, like it was like literally I texted you and said, hey, let's talk about last year and what we've learned and what we want to do for this year. So like everything that we're doing right now, it's just conversation.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I think, the stuff that, I had just actually had an appointment earlier this week with my counselor, and we were talking about some stuff from last year and some things that I want to do different. And it was, those topics were definitely on my mind, obviously. And I think that it's really neat that we don't necessarily plan it, but I think it would be really neat to try, whether we plan some certain topics and then maybe some guests every other week, every 2 or 3 weeks. I think that we did talk about that, and we really implemented that last year, like later last year, where we had a good amount of guests on. We wanted to do that, and I'm happy that we had some really good guests on. And I think if we just, we can kind of continue that. I like that, having somebody else's perspective and, different kind of conversation than just us. I love hearing my own voice, but, hey.
Well, I mean, I loved having Beth on because like sometimes like interviewing somebody can be just like a straight interview. Like it's just like you ask a question, they respond. You ask a question, they respond. And what I liked about Beth is, because she's a podcaster, so she was able to, add and interject herself into the conversation and not just be, an interview. But that's like what my goal is when we bring on guests, is for it to be a conversation about whatever we're talking about, right? Whatever. And just to harp a little bit more on Beth, did you listen to her podcast about the crazy army?
No, did you? Oh. I wanted to. I should actually do that. That's funny.
I think it's only like 30 minutes. And I was like, I think it was that day I had to go on an appointment, and it was about 30, 45 minutes away. I was like, you know what? I'm going to listen to it. She was on our podcast. I'm going to return the favor. And I listened to it, and that woman's story was one of the craziest stories. It's a great podcast. You guys should go check her out. What was the name of it again?
So I got divorced.
Yeah.
I got divorced. Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely go check that out.
I'll definitely listen to it.
We need to have a couple more podcasters on.
I think so. I think that'd be neat.
You know, did I say, I think when we were talking to her, I was talking to somebody and there's a podcast about podcasts, like she reviews podcasts. And so
that's cool.
I think that's a cool idea, but have some of those people come on, I think, and promote their podcasts, because I feel like everybody's starting one. So I think ours just kind of blossomed into something a little bit bigger. So, so one question I have, right? We talked about what, maybe what we learned about last year. I want to know, obviously, I think it's important to celebrate victories.
Mm-hmm.
So what is maybe something big? Doesn't maybe have to be big, but what is something like that you look back on in 2021 and celebrate? You're like, man, that was awesome. I accomplished that.
Yeah. So I had gotten an intern last year, and he is a digital marketing guru. So I am really excited that to have him on board. We started our YouTube page. Well, I had started it in 2017, and I had one poopy little video, and I hadn't done anything. So he recorded all these videos here, little segments, YouTube shorts, which are basically like Instagram reels. And we had just really started to hit YouTube, and he started a TikTok page for me too. So my I guess, getting the intern, kind of reaching out and saying that I'd like to have somebody to not only like help, but teach, and get them opportunities that they maybe normally wouldn't have. We have really gotten some really cool content. I've gotten some great feedback from people that are like looking at the page, the photos that we're posting, taking pictures. And that's just been it's been great for me, because it takes a weight off my shoulder, gives me time to do other stuff. And that is actually just like having him on board. Super cool. I'm really excited about that and what we're going to do this year. And then also, we just started like an email blast off of that. It's called Unfoiled. So it's like here in Hershey, and I unfoil little Hershey kisses. But like things about the industry, I unfoil. So that's cool. I like that. And then I was really excited that I actually marketed and promoted and went out for the holiday cards last year. I talked about it a little bit. I never ended up doing anything ever, because I was always burnt out and so tired from the year of events, that when it came to the October to get started for the holiday cards, I was just like, I don't even want to start. And, you obviously have to do things in certain industries months and months before, because people are buying stuff months before if it's retail. But I actually went out, I made catalogs of my work. I made of the cards. I did a ton of extra designs this year. I sent mailers out. I sent emails to like 1,000 people. And I did 5 times the amount of holiday cards this year than I ever have. So that, I think, for me shows that the things that you actually go out, and you ask for, and you say, hey, you should really do holiday cards. Can you use me this year? I Facebook messaged people. I was in public just saying, hey, are you doing holiday cards? You really should reach out to your customers this year. It's really a great thing. I sold people on it. And that really gave me the confidence, I think, just knowing that I can, that I can and should be really promoting things, and not just sitting around waiting for people to come to me, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just figured out something about my microphone. That's really cool. If you've noticed me for the last couple of minutes, I've been touching the top of my microphone.
Yeah.
And it's literally.
Oh, so you can touch it to turn it on and off.
Yeah, so I can literally mute myself.
Wow, that's pretty.
Yeah,
that's
I thought that was pretty
cool.
Slick. You'll start learning some stuff about the equipment you start using. So, but
I talk with my hands. So what if I was like?
No, so some big wins for me last year. I had some big goals, and and I'm not afraid to say that I didn't accomplish some of them, but I feel
Mhm.
like that's a lot of people. We all set these big
Yeah.
goals, and hopefully you do enough to accomplish. But
Mhm.
you know, somebody was saying the other day that even though you didn't accomplish your goals, you're probably a lot further along than you would have been.
Absolutely.
So, and I'll just tell you this, especially business wise, everything that every category in my business, like I've grown at least 50%.
Wow, that's awesome.
So that is really like, you know, uh, being my third full year into financial advising, just to have that much growth is really amazing. So obviously
Mhm.
looking to do that again this year. Um, but so that was a huge win. But like you said, it's all about doing the action and putting
Mhm.
that out there. But and talking to as many people as I could. The second thing was getting a pretty big license that that I was shooting for. It took me months to study for that
Wow.
exam. So it was 130 questions on all kinds of different finance stuff, and I passed it on the first try. And most people do
Nice.
not
Yeah.
pass it on the first try, so I was really excited there. And then I did a triathlon. Right, that was
Yes,
fun.
absolutely. Yep. Love
That was
that.
a because we talked about the bucket list, right? We talked
Yep.
about bucket list stuff, and that was
Yep.
on there, and so I was able to accomplish that.
Mhm.
Um, so there's just a lot of things that I remember, like getting to November and kind of just looking around, and things were starting to slow down a little bit. And you can, like, when you get towards the end of the year, I think you can have two mind frames. I think there's those people that are like, well, I've done enough, I'm shutting it down,
Mhm. Mhm.
and the year's over, I'm done. And then there's the people that are like, still hustling, right, and
Yeah.
still going after it. And you can, like you were saying before, you can compare yourself to others, especially other people that are just like you in your industry or doing something similar to what you're doing, and you can get that comparison and be like, oh my god, like, what have I done? And so this was
Mhm.
always a good kind of exercise for me to be like, hey, I did have some wins last year.
Right.
Like, not only did I have them professionally, I had them, like I said, read 24 books.
Mhm.
That was a goal of mine. I talked about the little gift that I gave Megan, where I wrote down something nice,
Mhm.
something I was thankful for her for an entire year. So that was a goal, right? And so that's what I was saying. I have a faith goal, I have a fitness,
Right.
family, all
That's
those things.
nice.
And so, but I think, like you said, it's just so important to celebrate those accomplishments, because if you don't, like, I know me, like, I don't know if you have ever dealt with like imposter syndrome, right? Like feeling
Mhm.
like, what do I really know? Like, do I know
Oh,
anything?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And then, like,
We
but
focus on the bad stuff more than the weaknesses or the failures than the strengths and the successes, right?
yeah, yeah. And so, like, for me, that was like, I definitely ran into that this year, especially like as I was growing in my business and more people were coming to me and stuff like that. And so it's just like, you can feel that way. You can be like, well, what do I really know? Like, but then, like,
Mhm.
I always think to myself, I'm like, well, there's no context to that question, right? You can't be like, hey, what do you know? And you'll be like, oh, well, I know this, right? It's got to be like a specific question. Then you're like, all of a sudden, you're like, well, I knew that answer, right?
Right. Oh
And so
yeah, it's
that,
just our mind,
yeah,
man. We got to
yeah.
like take control of it.
So,
I Yeah, I was going to say I forgot too. I mean, I did set a goal. I really wanted to get a new car this year. I've had mine for 2 years and it's just too small. And unfortunately, I'm not there. But I set that for next year, this year. By the summer, I really want to try to realistically be able to to get into a new car. But I was thinking too, I do that too, where I'm like, oh, I didn't do this or I didn't. But then one of the things too, I traveled. I had a bachelorette, a wedding. I was able, to travel a little bit this year. I probably would have been able to get the new car if I hadn't spent the money on those things. So it's like, well, a couple grand here, a couple grand there. That would have been my down payment on a new car. But I actually went. I had such a great time, and I realized I went to South America for the first time. I've never been to South America. I've been out of the country, but I kind of got out of the country to South America. So that's cool.
Yeah. And you didn't even mention that you went to Miami.
I did. I went Miami. I did. I actually went to the Gulf side this fall too, to Sarasota, and and I went to Dominican Republic too. So I had some cool trips, and memories that I wouldn't trade for the car. I'll get the car, this year, but.
That's and I think that's important to remember if anybody is watching is like, just because you didn't accomplish an income goal or whatever it was, you just reset, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just say, okay, hey, you probably got pretty close to that goal if you actually like it was something you went after. Like if you just set a goal and said, hey, I'm going to lose 20 pounds and never went to the gym, right? You're not gonna,
right.
You might gain 20 pounds, but you're not going to lose it.
But, right.
But make sure you take, like I said, you can definitely reset. And that's a lot of my goals. I reset, maybe pushed them a little bit higher just to stretch myself. But, so let's talk about that. Like, so what is you always see on social media, like these people that will, they'll post a word of the year, right? Or like their word for the year. And so like I've seen people post like power or growth or, learn, whatever, like whatever word comes to their mind, that's what their year is going to be about or what they want their year about. And so I think last year my word was about like getting uncomfortable or like uncomfortable. Because I knew I was going to have to get uncomfortable to reach some of my goals. So I know I'm throwing you on the spot, but do you have a word for this year? Do you even do that? Like,
I don't usually do the word. I know definitely, what I want to do and because that I want the new car and I really want to start saving and I want, to really increase my income and stuff. I think I've seen a lot with 2022, like consistency. I don't know. I don't know if that's if that's the right word, but I think it's just, I think that last year I wasn't consistent. I was all over the place and I went one thing, I was extreme on this side and then I went extreme on that side. So I think for me, maybe just, finding that middle ground and then just being consistent, with that. So I don't know if that's the right word, but, you touched the mic.
I guess it doesn't have to be.
You muted yourself.
I did.
It's good. I can hear you now.
I guess it doesn't have to be the right word. Like it just has to be your word. And so
I think, I just want to get on. I want to get something in my head and what I want. And I want to just stay on that track. I do not want to derail from that track. I just want to stay. And maybe that's like not chugging like beer.
Chugging beer.
No, just that consistency on track. Like on my track mind, on track, like for money, for on track. That's what I'm gonna do. On track.
On track. There you go.
I hate running, but I can say on track.
I think my word, and the only reason I brought it up is because I saw it the other day, and it just sparked like the first word that came to my head because I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then like I remember a word popping in my head, and it was harvest. And so I think for 2020 and 2021, I did a lot of, seed planting. And so, for me, it's harvesting, starting to harvest those seeds.
Nice. I like it.
And so, but what's like a big goal that you have set for yourself this year?
Well, I want a new car. So obviously new car. And I would like, I'd really like to start saving enough to realistically consider buying a rental property, an investment property. So I'm just renting right now. I don't want to move again, but I know that sometimes if you live, if you get a duplex and you live on one side and, it pays for the, you get rent from the other side. But I I want to just get really serious about finances and just my debt will be paid off actually this year. I had done a like consolidation years and years ago, and it was supposed to be February, but there was there was a little bit on one that we didn't know, so it's going to be a couple more months. But I think it was February, March, April, so May, and that was like 500 something a month that I was paying. So having that to then save, obviously, for and get some stuff together. I think that's like grow up. I want to, start getting some, investments and things like that.
Yeah. I love those goals. I especially like the whole, because that's a goal of mine, is to become debt free, not necessarily debt free from the house, because that's a whole another,
right.
That's a bigger chunk of money, but definitely student loan debt, definitely credit cards, and potentially the car. Like that's my goal in the first like 6 to 8 months is to be debt free from those things. But then I've talked about it before, opening an office. I think before it was just like something I was saying, right? It wasn't like something like I was like, oh, I want to open my own office. But like now it's like I'm emotionally attached to it. Like I need, it's not I want to open my office. Like it's like I need to do this.
Yeah.
It needs to happen. And so that's a big goal. So
and the website we're launching this month in January. I said that I want to have passive income from my website, from the sales of it, that I can then potentially at some point maybe do something else. I've always felt like I don't want to sit behind a computer, designing my whole life. I want to be out. I want to be doing things. I love being in the community. So I think that I've never really known what the possibilities are generating sales and the income from that. So I think that now it's here and it's very realistic. Then I can make maybe goals after that, because I'll just be, hopefully, it's the idea of like making money in your sleep. I'm selling these designs and we're just personalizing them and getting them out. It's just kind of, it's obviously like passive income, but I really want to see that to be generating a really good amount for me. Then I can maybe consider something. Maybe I will be a party planner in this life. Maybe that will allow me to,
maybe we'll be the #1 podcast in America. Who knows? Right? That
is a huge goal, a huge lofty.
It is a lofty goal, but
we need speaking of content, we need to get some controversial topics going on so that people, we get shared. Can you believe they talked about this? And I know. We should get
our first controversial topic. Who's men are better or women are better?
Oh, no. I mean like really controversial topics, Billy. Oh, no.
We'll get there. But anyways, I think that's a good way to kind of just end the show today. We've been going for a while. We definitely have a lot more content
ideas.
In us. But definitely we appreciate everybody that jumped on. And so today, right, because if you're new to the show, right, you've never seen us before. Another reason why I have to get off there, because the sun.
Oh, it's creeping in.
It's going to be in my face in like 10 seconds. So,
we have to move quickly.
Yeah, so I'm like slowly just doing this, right?
That's hilarious.
Usually I have the window closed, but today I have it open.
It's great.
So the power of live video, things happen. So anyways, we usually do at the end of the show, for those that are jumping on for the very first time, listening for the very first time, we have a millennial meme of the week, and we need a jingle. We say it every time, and we just need to get on Fiverr. Or if there's anybody that does jingles or knows somebody that does jingles.
We actually found somebody. We made some progress with that.
Yeah,
we did. I did find somebody. So
we're gonna get that knocked out. Right, we're gonna take action.
Millennial meme.
And so, but since it's been such a long time since either of us have done a meme, Mel had the great idea of both of us doing a meme.
Oh,
double meme Friday. That's the hashtag you need to put on the post.
Okay.
Double meme Friday.
Send it.
The millennial.
I will.
So I'll go first because mine's actually on top of. I can't see yours. I positioned my computer in a way where I don't see yours. So I'm going to go first. And so my meme is, you won't. It's the guy. Oh, the black guy that's always pointing to his head. Like,
at his head.
Think,
right? He sort of looks like Eddie Murphy.
Yes, he does. That's a nice gold watch, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that would be your watch, but obviously it would have to be rose gold. But I feel like that's a watch you would wear. But anyways, he says you won't break your New Year's resolutions if you don't make any.
I love it. So, I love that. And I did actually have a rose gold watch that I lost or somebody stole. I did have one that looked just like that I used to wear. I don't have it anymore. But I love that. And so mine is actually it says ending 2019. And do you know the guy's name the guy's name that is this actor? He's got the long hair.
Momoa or whatever, Jason Momoa.
Yeah, so it's him with his tats and he's all like his hair and all the women think he's hot. It's like ending 2019 and it says starting 2022.
It's Rob Schneider.
It's Rob Schneider with one eye.
It's from the movie like 100 or 1,000 Dates or whatever. It was Adam Sandler.
Yes, and he was on the island, right? He was like the guy on the island. So I think we've clearly. I think this is a great a depiction of what has been going on the last 2 years.
Yeah. It's that could also be like anybody that's ever been on a Tinder date. Like I've never been on one, but I'm sure.
This is what they really look like. This is their profile pic to what they really look like. That would be hilarious.
Like 30-year-old, and then all of a sudden the guy gets there and he's 60 years old, right?
I did have another one that I thought was funny, but I'll share it you'll have to go to the social media pages to see it.
Oh, look at that. Our first, you have to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. We're going to do more of that. But also, what we also like to do at the end of the show. Whoa, I changed the cameras on us. Look at that. I made you smaller.
Yeah.
Is Mel gets to have an opportunity because Mel already, like she said, guys, she likes to talk.
I like to hear myself, but I did say I do like to talk.
Why not give her a few more moments to share with us a little moment of at the end of the show where we call Mel's moment, and she gets to share some type of advice, whatever is in her head that's going to lead us into the first. Is this the first weekend of the new year or no? First full weekend, right?
It technically, because January 1st was Saturday, but I would say this would be the first full weekend. Sure.
Yeah. First full. Listen, we're sticking with it. It's our show. You can't. Our fact checker Brandon is not here.
He's not on, so he can't tell us no.
He can't tell us no. But Mel, go ahead. First one of the year. Take it away.
Yeah. So I would say that. No matter what successes and maybe I don't want to use the word failures. I think that maybe things that we didn't achieve that we wanted to last year, there is always this year revamp, regroup. And I think that there are great, I like the timeframes that we put on things. I think that we need to be more realistic, especially myself with certain things, and maybe plan a little bit better with just routines. I know I'm like spitting all these things off because I'm just actually now thinking of all the things that I need to do so we can create. But I would just say take it easy on ourselves, like give us grace. We talked about that a little bit, things that maybe you didn't achieve in 2021. This is a new year, and I think that we take the things that we learned from last year and the lessons and, just take them into the new year and take action on those things. Even a little bit of action and little successes add up to big success. So, there are definitely a lot of things that we underestimate ourselves and we're our worst critics. But I definitely think that we've all had some really great successes in 2021. And, that we just need to stay on track and be consistent and keep making those little successes, and maybe just plan out things month by month, 3 months at a time, 3 weeks at a time. And I think that we'll really start to achieve some really big things for 2022. And it is my birthday on Monday. So I'm going to be another year older, guys. It's definitely, not only do we look at, I feel like, the things that we want for each year and the new year, but at our age and at our life, and we want to make sure that it's successful personally and professionally. So I would just make some goals and just stay on track.
Nice. Yes, that is the best way to sum up this entire conversation as well. So I totally agree with everything that you said, and so let's have that saying, right? Let's make this the best year ever, right?
Yes.
You have to tread lightly when you say that, because I remember saying that in 2020, right? At the end of 2019, going into 2020.
It was not.
We tread a little lightly when we say that these days. But anyways, guys, we enjoyed everybody that jumped on, commented, liked. We really appreciate you guys. It's going to be a great year for the Millennial. We're going to produce a lot of great content for you guys.
Yep.
And we look forward to bringing you many more shows. So if you're sick of us, I'm sorry.
If you're sick of us,
we're not going anywhere. And if you love us, we love you. So anyways, guys, we appreciate everybody. Make sure you always check us out. Fridays, 2:00, right? We're 2:00. Check us out. Chime in.
You have to go to see the meme, the extra meme.
The extra meme. Set your notifications for us as well, right? So that you know when we're going live. Because, like I said, we're live every Friday. So anyways, guys, enjoy your weekend. We will talk to you soon. Have a good one.